Mike Burrell from Telco Professionals in London with David Pringle. David has a background with the Wall Street Journal as the European communications correspondent, and for the last 3.5 years he's been with the GSMA, and right now he is driving the blogs and some communications for the Mobile Innovation Exchange, which is a part of one of the GSMA's initiatives. Thanks very much for coming along, David.
Thank you.
So a good lead-in question here would be, what is the Mobile Innovation Exchange, and why should our members listen to the video?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the Mobile Innovation Exchange is a sort of online meeting place where operators, entrepreneurs, VCs, etc. can kind of come together from all over the world. GSMA set this up essentially to create a single point of contact, a place where these different communities can mingle, discuss things, actually facilitate business essentially. And the reason that's important is at the moment, if you're a startup in China, for example, it's difficult to talk to the operators in the US, or it's difficult to reach the operators in Scandinavia or wherever it is. You go to this online meeting place, it'll put you in front of the GSMA's membership in one place, and the GSMA's membership is essentially 750 operators, including many of the world's biggest. So it's a good place for the entrepreneurs to meet both the VCs, the major vendors, and the large operators.
Okay, but it's not just an online place. There's an event in Barcelona.
Yeah, Barcelona is one of 3 different events actually taking place through the year, but the one you're referring to is in June. It's part of this wider innovation summit that's taking place at the FIRA, and it's a telecoms track essentially, which the GSMA's Innovation Marketplace is organising, and that's alongside a clean tech and a health tech event as well. And essentially these 3 events are running in parallel, and they're all about innovation in these different marketplaces. And the point of going there, and the reason why people would be interested in that, is that's a place where entrepreneurs can talk again face to face to the operators, members from the GSMA, the major vendors, and the VC community. There'll also be a place where essentially the top entrepreneurs in the GSMA's kind of Mobile Innovation Awards will be able to showcase their wares. There'll be a sort of mini exhibition where the guys that have been identified as the top sort of 15 innovators in the EMEA area, there'll be a mini exhibition devoted to their innovations and their products, etc. So there'll be a conference program supplemented by that exhibition, and it should be the ideal place for sort of putting these buyers and sellers of innovation together.
So is it open to everybody? What sort of companies can go?
Yeah, essentially, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're essentially on the innovator side, let's say you're the guys that have got the innovations, the ideas that you want to take to operators. You need to be a small company. Your turnover needs to be less than $20 million US dollars to actually take part in the whole innovation marketplace. But that would then qualify you obviously to go to this kind of event, talk to the operators, etc. If you're an operator or a vendor or a VC, there's different qualifying criteria. You essentially need to be within the mobile industry and be clearly interested in this type of technologies.
And what's the uptake like? There are enough companies out there fitting this criteria at the moment?
Oh yeah, I mean, essentially from the innovation side of things, the entrepreneurs, the startups, there's literally thousands of companies targeting the mobile space at the moment. The mobile industry's opened up massively in the last few years with the advent of IP-based networks, IP-based technologies, etc. So now there's a lot of companies innovating around mobile. You know, you've seen this through the app stores, you know, the iPhone, etc. It's created these opportunities that just didn't exist in the mobile space before. A lot of companies out there, they need a channel to reach the operators. The operators need an easy way to talk to them and filter them and find out who's interesting. So yeah, there's a lot of demand for this kind of thing.
So you actually have people from operators at the event as well?
That's right.
Not just these small, under $20 million companies?
Yeah, no, the whole point is that this is a place the operators can come and they can talk to a lot of innovators at once. And essentially we'll be looking at a kind of speed dating arrangement that takes place within the event, where each innovator, each entrepreneur can go and talk to the operators, the VCs, the vendor representatives in turn in that kind of speed dating format. The whole point is to facilitate conversation, facilitate a flow of business between the operator community and these entrepreneurs, these innovators.
Okay. Now, what was the genesis of this? Did the small companies push, or? Was it just an idea out of the blue from somebody in the GSMA?
Yeah, you go back several years, you would have found a lot of complaints, I think, amongst these new startups, these guys that had interesting ideas they thought would work in the mobile space. A lot of complaints saying it's difficult to talk to operators, difficult to reach the right people within these big companies. Operators would respond and say, look, we don't have the bandwidth to filter through hundreds, maybe thousands of small companies coming to us with ideas, innovations, etc. So we need somebody to do that role for us, to find essentially who are the interesting companies out there and act as that filter on our behalf, and then create a channel where we can talk to these entrepreneurs directly. So essentially the operator members, the GSMA, were saying, look, we need somebody to do this role. Obvious place to do it is through the GSMA. It's a global organisation. It's got global reach, it's got global communication channels. It's a place where the entrepreneurs can go, they can actually promote themselves, and then the GSMA, through these competitions, through these award processes, decides which companies are interesting, which are less interesting, puts the interesting ones in front of the operator community. So it's serving a purpose. It's basically bringing economies of scale to the operators so they don't have to do this job individually.
I'd understood some of the investment community turns up there as well, and it can be an interesting place if you're a small company to put your profile on the board.
Yeah, I mean, there's a clear case for VCs and private equity firms to come to these types of events, because essentially they can then see which of the startups are of most interest to the operator community. They can get a sort of take the pulse, as it were, of the operator strategies. They can see which direction the operators are heading in, what types of startups the operators are interested in. They can also obviously talk to these innovators, some of these entrepreneurs, about whether they need more funding, whether they need second round funding or additional funding, etc. So from the VC's point of view, it's a sort of one-stop shop where they can take the temperature of the operators, get a feel for their strategies, but also see who the operators have identified as the most interesting startups. Okay,
and there's a competition as well.
Yeah, essentially they call it the Grand Prix, essentially, and what it is, I think it's 4 legs. There's a European leg, there's an Asian leg, and an America's leg, and then a virtual leg. And essentially each of these legs identifies the most interesting, most exciting, most companies with the highest potential in that particular region or that particular leg. They're identified by a panel made up of essentially R&D experts from the operators and some VCs, and sometimes from the major vendors as well. These guys say, okay, these are the most interesting companies. They're then shortlisted, and at these events, such as the one in Barcelona in June, there's a competition element where they pitch. They do almost a kind of Dragon's Den type pitch to the panel, and then the panel then decides this is the most interesting company, gives them an award, and they actually go to a grand final at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona in February, where the winners of the 4 different legs come together and have a sort of face-off competition, as it were, to decide who is the sort of the most exciting innovator worldwide.
Okay, well, I'm happy you mentioned the Mobile World Congress as well, because that's obviously the event that a lot of people probably it's really their only image of the GSMA. Can you talk a little bit about what else the GSMA does?
Yeah, essentially, so as you said, the Mobile World Congress is the kind of anchor event. It's 50,000 people coming to Barcelona. There is a smaller but equivalent event takes place in Asia each year. It has been in Macau, it's moving to Hong Kong, that'll be in November. There'll be a leg of this Innovation Grand Prix at that event in Hong Kong in November. There's also smaller, more specialist events taking place in the States. There'll be one again related to the innovation marketplace in the US. There's also related to the event in June in Barcelona, the innovation event in June in Barcelona. A week after, there's a mobile money summit dedicated to financial services delivered by the mobile channel. Smaller specialist events, but it's all kind of taking the expertise the GSMA has in Barcelona and tailoring these type of events to particular audiences. And the kind of unique selling point, as it were, in each case is the GSMA bring in the operator representatives, which not every event can actually deliver.
Sure. Thanks a lot for taking the time, and I look forward to reading your blogs over the next couple of months.
Thanks very much, Mike.